Hello, welcome to the Virtual College Exploration Fair sponsored by the Minnesota Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. My name is Mai Chu Mo, and I'll be the facilitator for today's session. Thank you all so much for joining our session about the University of Minnesota system today. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. Please use the Q&A function on your screen to type your questions into our presenters at any time throughout the presentation. Note that your cameras and microphones are off, so the panelists will not be able to see or hear you. Remember that this is just one of the many different sessions happening today over the 3-day virtual college fair. So please be sure to check out a full schedule online at strivescan.com/Minnesota. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website at www.strivescan.com/Minnesota. Now I'd like to turn things over to our presenters.
All right, hello everyone, welcome. I am just going to share my screen really quick, so just bear with me as we get this up here. All right, here we go. Again, welcome everyone. My name is Kelsey. I am a regional admissions counselor for the University of Minnesota Duluth campus. Before we get started here, I'm going to have the rest of my colleagues introduce themselves, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine, and I'm an admissions counselor at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities.
Hi everyone, my name is Musa Maigan. I'm a regional counselor for the University of Minnesota Crookston.
Hello, I'm Andrew Sletton. I'm a regional admissions counselor based in Minneapolis with the University of Minnesota Morris.
Hello, my name is Ryan Engelman, and I am the regional recruiter for the University of Minnesota Rochester.
Awesome, thanks everyone. Okay, so we're super excited that you joined us today. So we are just going to do quick overview about the University of Minnesota, and then we each are going to go into a minute or two about each of our campuses, and then we want to try to leave a good amount of time for you to ask questions. Again, utilize that Q&A throughout the presentation, and at the end we will do our best to answer as many of those live or via in the Q&A. So never too many questions, put them in there, and we'll definitely help you out there. So a little bit about our system here before we get started. The University of Minnesota was founded in 1851. Again, we are 5 different campuses. You can see the map there where we're all located. Twin Cities, Duluth, Rochester, Morris, and Crookston. Between all of our campuses, we have over 67,000 plus students enrolled. So definitely a lot of really great choices that you have with the University of Minnesota. As you will see when we start talking, we are all different sizes, different locations in the state of Minnesota. You will all get a University of Minnesota diploma. So no matter which one of our campuses you choose and fits you best, you'll graduate with the University of Minnesota degree. You have over 300 different majors, a lot of different opportunities for you throughout our campuses, whether you're looking for a large campus, a medium-sized campus, or a smaller campus. So we are definitely excited to share with you about all of our campuses today. Just wanted to give that short introduction here, and we are going to get started with the Crookston campus. And Musa.
Thank you, Kelsey. So yeah, I am the rep for Crookston. I'm also regional in the Minneapolis area as well. I would say, again, you'll probably hear a lot from all of us today that the University of Minnesota was really about the research, and you can find those opportunities at all our campuses. But I would say really the draw for our campus is going to be the campus size. We're located in Northwest Minnesota, as you saw on the previous graphic. So if you're not totally familiar with the area, I usually use, the University of North Dakota or NDSU as, placeholders as to where we're located at. So we're up there, Northwest Minnesota. But really, going back to it, I think really the draw is to what current and past students I've worked with, really the draw as to why they choose our campus is because they like the size. They're not necessarily looking for a larger campus. They want to go to a school to where that they feel like they're part of more of a community. So really, that's going to be the biggest takeaway about our campus. I would say our majors are going to focus in the sciences. math, science, technology, business, liberal arts, and ag and natural resources. A bulk of the students that choose us tend to lean in that ag and natural resources area just because that's the roots of our campus. But as I mentioned, we have areas of study in all different areas as well too. The big takeaway from our campus as well is all on-campus students do receive a new laptop, and we have a partnership with HP so that those are renewed every couple of years. And once you graduate at our campus too, you're gifted the laptop. So kind of a cool a present for, or congratulations for graduating at our campus. Next slide, please. Some highlights about our campus too. We were just voted the fourth safest campus in Minnesota and have the best college dorms in Minnesota. Now, you can believe or not those rankings, but what I can tell you about specifically the dorms, I've done quite a few college visits and seen some dorms, and really the dorms that we offer to our students, they really like it. About 97% of our freshmen live on campus their first year with us, so that kind of goes to show that they really enjoy the facilities that they see on our campus. We had just moved to test free for our admissions requirements, meaning that we really don't want to see your ACT or SAT scores. We don't require them as far as what we look for in the application. So I mean, if you do send them, we're really not going to take a look at those and consider those in the process for admissions. It's really going to be based upon your grades, kind of engagement in your response to our application questions. And really the highlights for what would make you eligible for an admission decision is going to be getting us those high school transcripts. Unofficials are totally fine for receiving a decision. And really at that the core GPA. So what's going to come out of your math, science, English, and social sciences, if that core GPA is at 2.75, you will get admitted on our campus. That's not to say if you don't have that, you won't get in, but those are kind of the benchmarks that we like to tell students so that they have an idea of what it would take to get into our campus. And you should usually receive those decisions 1 week after receive all your application materials, not just because the application is submitted, but once we also get that transcript as well too. So I will pass it off to Kelsey now.
Awesome. Thank you, Musa. Also, I lost where my video is, so I'm not going to have my video on. But again, I'm Kelsey from Duluth. So we're the medium-sized campus of this system. We have almost 11,000 total students on our campus. So, you know, basically what that means is that you're getting that experience that a larger university can offer, but on the academic side, we resemble a smaller university. So your average class is about 25 students on our campus. We currently have a 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and your name in the classroom, you know, you're not a number. So even though you might have some larger intro classes your first year, you still really get to know your faculty and fellow students, which I think is a really cool aspect of our campus, especially given we are, you know, that medium-sized as well. A little bit about what we offer. You can see our beautiful campus up there. Hopefully, some of you have had the opportunity to visit our campus, if not our campus, the Duluth area in general. You're about 7 minutes away from Lake Superior. You have a lake view every day, which is beautiful. We are all connected by Skyway and Concourse system, which is the feature of our campus. So in the winter, you can get from your residence hall to the dining center to the library without having to go outside, which is a pretty unique feature of our campus, which definitely comes in handy. We have 4 different colleges on our campus, so depending on what major you might be interested in, you know, you'll also be admitted or into a specific college within UMD. We have our Swenson College of Science and Engineering. We have our Leibovitz School of Business and Economics, our College of Education and Human Services Professions. And we also have our College of Liberal Arts, which also houses our fine arts as well. So for any of you interested in theater, art, or music. So again, I kind of talked about being that perfect size, that personalized learning experience is super important on our campus, and being primarily undergraduate focused. And what I mean by that is that we do have a medical school and a pharmacy school on our campus. Twin Cities and the Duluth campus both have medical school and pharmacy schools. And despite having some some master's level programs, the majority of our students are undergraduates. So when it comes to research opportunities, when it comes to internships, getting to work directly with faculty, that is all for you as an undergraduate student. So our students get really cool opportunities to do some national and international research if you're interested in that. And our career and internship services is amazing at placing you with internships and that real world experience that you receive in the classroom and outside of the classroom as well. We have a variety of different students on our campuses or on our campus, a lot from the Twin Cities metro area, but all across Minnesota, across the nation, and internationally as well. Again, if you haven't visited Duluth, I definitely recommend you come up and make a visit. For those of you that love the outdoors, or even if you're kind of like more of an inside person like I was when I was in college, there's so much to do around the city of Duluth, and the Duluth community and our campus definitely reflect each other in that way. So there's so many hiking trails, biking trails around our campus, study space. Our students go surfing on Lake Superior, you can go ice climbing in the winter. We're Division I for our men and women's hockey team, and we're Division II for the rest of varsity athletics as well. So again, so much to do on our campus. We'd love to show you more. There will be a slide towards the end here that'll talk a little bit more about our admissions requirements. So I don't want to get too much into that, but the thing to know is if you are a current senior, there's still time to apply. If you are a junior this year, our application is going to open mid-August this summer. So stay tuned for that information. And I'm going to pass it along to Morris.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelsey. Before I get started here, I want to plug the Q&A. It is a lonely place right now. We see there's so many of you on this presentation, which is amazing, but no questions and answers right now. We really want to make this presentation as personalized as possible. There's that Q&A functionality. We have plenty of time at the end for questions. So just want to plug that Q&A one more time. It's a lonely place right now, but I know that you all have really good questions. We want to answer those questions. So I'm talking about the University of Minnesota Morris. We are Minnesota's only public liberal arts university. We have a 13-to-1 student to faculty ratio. That's really the big offering that we have. 99% of our professors have the highest degree in their field. We're all undergraduate, and you work with those professors in a really close setting. And then we have awesome research opportunities like Musa alluded to earlier. Half of our students conduct undergraduate research. So it's a really great mix of that small classroom experience where you're really connecting with a really qualified professor. Then you also have all these awesome University of Minnesota system opportunities. So kind of best of both worlds there. We are a D3 school for athletics. We have over 120 student clubs and organizations. We're located in West Central Minnesota. It's a pretty unique thing about us. We're in quite a small town of about 5,000 people. Kelsey mentioned a lot of people are visiting Duluth. Less people are visiting Morris. That's just reality. So I put a slide on there or a picture on the bottom left part of the slide there of where Morris, Minnesota is. It's about 3 hours from the Twin Cities metro, about 2 hours from Fargo, Moorhead area. So West Central part of the state, beautiful Minnesota prairie, smaller town, but still a lot going on in town. You can really have a full experience in the area. We have awesome community engagement opportunities. And then, like I said, D3 athletics, awesome arts programs. We have a theater production showcased on the bottom there. And then over 120 student clubs and organizations. Philosophy Club is shown there with the little frowny face. I'm kind of showing some personality there, but so much to do on campus. There's a lot going on. You can be really involved on a really small campus in a small town. Let's go to the next slide, please, Kelsey. Awesome. So this just tells more of the Morris story. We've been named as a top 10 public liberal arts college for 22 years in a row, something we're really proud of. Making that liberal arts education where you're studying a lot of different things in a small discussion-based classroom. We're making it really accessible as a public school, something we're really proud of. Named one of the best and most interesting colleges as well. And then I want to talk about sustainability on campus. We were ranked #1 by Environment America for renewable electricity on campus. We are currently fully carbon neutral in electricity production. So it's a big priority of our campus, something we really value. If you're interested in sustainability, we're a really amazing place for that. Just want to go back up one to that best and most interesting college. Best, really subjective, right? I went to Morris, I work for Morris. I'm going to leave that up to you to determine the best. But what I can guarantee is that we are one of the most interesting colleges. It's just a really unique place. You know, U of M campus in a small town. We're a really diverse campus. There's so many things going on. Wide variety of majors, wide variety of people studying on our campus, and just some really interesting campus culture pieces, and the community is really strong. So best, you know, I'll leave that up to you. You're doing your own research, but then most interesting is definitely something I can promise. If you choose to visit Morris, you'll see that we have a really awesome campus community. And I think the most interesting is really fitting. With that, I'm going to plug the Q&A one more time. I see that we have a couple questions on there, which is awesome. Keep those coming, and hand it over to Ryan from Rochester.
All right, thank you, Andrew. My name is Ryan Engelman, and I am the Twin Cities Regional Admissions Recruiter for the University of Minnesota Rochester. The UMR campus offers a distinct higher education learning experience in that we solely focus on preparing undergraduate students for careers in healthcare, as well as preparation for graduate and professional schools. We are located in downtown, growing and thriving Rochester, about an hour and a half south of the Twin Cities. We're right next door to Mayo Clinic, where our students complete research, internships, clinicals, mentorships, work study, shadowing, tons of volunteering opportunities. So some really great experiences for our students. We do offer smaller learning environments with a total enrollment right under 1,000 students. Average class size is right around 23 students, and an 80-to-1 advisor or academic success coach ratio. So our students have these amazing experiential learning opportunities with hands-on a learning approach through Mayo Clinic, but also focused on individual attention and great research collaborations. And next slide, Kelsey. Thank you. And now, so there's going to be a huge need for healthcare workers in the next decade. Thousands of jobs will become available, and many difficult to fill. So our focus is to educate and train the next generation of healthcare providers. The health science major is intentionally very flexible for students that either know what they want to do long-term, or maybe still exploring some healthcare career interest. And so the idea behind the major of the health sciences is that it requires a limited number of prereq courses, and then they essentially fill the rest with electives and internships that might fit their career pathway. So that way, if a student is kind of thinking, starting out pre-med, and all of a sudden is looking to become a counselor, they don't have to change their major. They're just changing some of the courses that they're taking, because the health sciences through our pathways encompasses all of that. And so these are 6 that we have listed here. These are 6 career pathways that our students kind of fall into. Patient care is probably the largest. So all of our pre-med students are kind of falling into the patient care pathway. But, you know, we also, of course, now have public policy and global health. So many of you probably know now who Dr. Anthony Fauci is and what he does and what epidemiologists do. And so hopefully that's an area that will continue to grow as well. And then, of course, resilience, well-being, mental health. Like I mentioned, that's kind of more psychology focused as well. So you see at the bottom, business leadership side of healthcare. Of course, healthcare is a business. And so we have students that are going on to lead clinics and help to manage healthcare clinics and hospitals and things like that. So, so as you can see, it's not just doctors and nurses that we're training. There are hundreds of different types of jobs in healthcare, many of which are still kind of evolving. So, and then next, I want to briefly touch on our early assurance programs. So you'll see the Bachelor of Science nursing program, which is a 4-year nursing degree. That is actually the University of Minnesota Twin Cities nursing program. We host 15 students each year, or we admit 15 students each year, I should say, on the Rochester campus. And so you spend 4 years on the Rochester campus and you complete your clinicals at Mayo Clinic next door. So the application deadline for the nursing program and for all of our early assurance programs is December 1 of your senior year. The next one, the physician assistant program, that is a collaboration with the Mayo Clinic School of Health Sciences. And it is a undergraduate and graduate program all wrapped up into one, 5 years total. So 3 years at UMR in the health sciences, and then 2 years earning your Master of Science degree as a PA at Mayo Clinic. So it's a really intense fast track to becoming a PA, but PA is certainly a popular area right now in healthcare that's growing, and hoping to train more of those students to go in that career. And finally, our new early assurance program is the respiratory care program, and that is also a collaboration with the Mayo Clinic School of Health Sciences. So you may know someone, or you see all these people that are in the ICU because of COVID. They're being treated by respiratory care therapists. And so this is essentially a 2+2 program, 2 years at UMR and 2 years at Mayo Clinic School of Health Sciences for students to earn their bachelor's degree and also a certificate through Mayo Clinic School of Health Sciences. So that is all I had to share right now. I will pass it off to Twin Cities.
Perfect. Thank you, Ryan. So again, my name is Catherine. I am the University of Minnesota Twin Cities rep, and I also live in the Twin Cities area. So on the screen, you'll see that we have 8 freshmen admitting colleges. So if you apply for admissions through the Twin Cities, you do apply and are admitted directly into your program. We are known for engineering, business, the biological sciences, also nursing, education. So there's a very wide variety of programs. We have over 150 majors available. We also have a very unique scholars program through the University Honors Program. And then the last one, that first bullet point, is the President's Emerging Scholars Program. So this support system is geared towards students of color who might be underrepresented in their communities or in their high schools. And this program is to help ensure that those students have support and success on campus, and it also has a scholarship component. So if you might be in that category, you can also include interest in that program, and we automatically review students for honors in the PES program on their application. Even though we are a large university, we have 93% freshman retention rate. So a lot of our incoming students are continuing on for their second year. And then you'll also see that we are a Research One institution. As it's been said a couple times, the University of Minnesota systems in general are very research heavy. So our campus has had over $1.1 billion, with a B, $billion in research expenditures every year. So a lot of opportunities for research. We've been named a Best Value Public University by a few different sources. One way that we do that specifically is by having a tuition flat rate for tuition for students. So if you're taking 13 or more credits per semester, you're paying a flat rate of 13 credits. So we typically see students taking 15 to 18 credits a semester, not having to pay extra for those. And then lastly, we are a Division I school. We're part of the Big Ten academic and athletic conferences. Next slide, please. And then within the Twin Cities campus, I think our location is one of the biggest selling points for our students. We have 3 distinct campuses. So we have East Bank, West Bank, and the St. Paul campus. And we're right in kind of the heart of downtown Minneapolis and really close to St. Paul. So if you like to be in a large, busy area, we are near the Twin Cities, but we're not in the downtown area, which I think is pretty nice. And then there's also 16 Fortune 500 companies located within the Twin Cities metro area. So there are jobs in every sector of the economy. You have opportunities for internships or exploring those different career opportunities. You don't have to go far for a full-time career. So having those opportunities really close by is, I think, a really good selling point for students. And then next slide, please. Getting into the application review. So the next slide after this will have more of our specific admissions requirements, but all 5 campuses do a holistic review. They all are looking for something a little bit different or have a little bit of different averages. So admission to one of the system campuses does not always mean admission to all of the system campuses. You will see in the second bullet point that we are test optional, excuse me. And that is something right now for all of the 5 systems. This is not for some of the systems a permanent test optional thing. So I know for the Twin Cities, and I think was it Morris, we are test optional right now as a direct response of COVID. I'm not sure if this will be something that we keep moving forward, but just know that some of the universities will be standing test optional in the future. And then there's also a Share My App program. So if you apply to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities specifically, you are able to share your application to the other 4 systems for free. This is not a backwards compatible type application. So if you apply to Duluth, you are not able to share your applications to the other systems. It's only through the Twin Cities location, but it's a way to apply to these systems for free with no new application, no application fee. The only kind of air of caution I have for students is that the Share My App opens probably in October, about a week after your Twin Cities application is complete. And it is not always mindful of other deadlines of other schools. So if there is the healthcare deadline or a scholarship deadline, if you are interested in the other campuses, just make sure that your either Share My App is complete on time, or that you're actually applying directly to those schools, because this won't always be reciprocated pretty well with those different deadlines. But if you're interested in more information, there's a link on the screen that you can take a picture of and type in later if you would like more info. And then next screen, please. So as I mentioned on the screen here, you'll see the different admissions processes, what applications each university is on, what is needed for the application review. Again, if the test score is optional or not, and then the different deadlines for admission. And then in the last column, you'll see the cost. I would recommend taking a picture of the screen, and I'll stop speaking for a moment just so the closed captioning can disappear. But this will be a great way to see what those different requirements are for each university. Okay, it looks like closed captioning will stay on. But so if you have any questions on that, we'll get into, I believe the next slide will have all of our contact information. So feel free to email any of us if you have direct questions about either of our system locations, admissions process, anything like that. We're more than happy to help with any questions that you have. And then with that, we will move right into the Q&A panel. So I did see a couple questions have come through. So we will look to get those answered right now, but feel free to keep typing them in. We do have about 20 minutes left until the presentation is done. And again, there is a good number of you in here. So feel free to ask those questions. We're more than happy to help answer them right now.
Yeah, so I have been manning the Q&A, and we have a lot of questions coming in, and so we are going to use this 20 minutes, but keep them coming, like Catherine said. We had a question about visiting, and more specifically, visiting campus and visiting with coaches. If we could all address that, I'll start. We're doing limited in-person visit opportunities with COVID protocols, and then our coaches are scheduling meetings with similar kind of COVID protocols on a limited basis. So Kelsey, what about Duluth?
Yep, so same. We do have some on-campus visits. We also, obviously with taking the precautions that we have on our campus in place, like if you're up on campus, you're welcome to walk around, or if you're in Duluth, you're welcome to stop by campus and walk around. For meeting with coaches specifically, I would recommend reaching out to us in admissions, and then we do have an athletic liaison in our office, so we can help you schedule any certain specific visit with the coaches, or with that being said, with other departments on campus too. So it's always just good to reach out to us directly in admissions first, and we can help you out there.
Awesome. And Musa, for Crookston visits?
Yeah, we are also doing on-campus visits in a limited capacity. And in particular, to meeting with a coach, we do also have an athletic liaison in our office as well. So if that's something that you're looking to do, definitely let us know ahead of time that that's something that you're looking to add on to your campus visit. I will say too that our days, being that they are limited, they do fill up pretty quick. So if you're thinking about visiting Crookston, I would try to get that on schedule sooner rather than later, just because we limit it to about a total of a group of 2 to 3 families on our campus each day. So if there's a particular date that you know of now that would work, I would highly encourage you to at least fill that out or request it and register for it. If things change, obviously we can try to move things around. But the earlier that you know about you wanting to visit, I would highly encourage you to sign up for that as well.
Awesome. Catherine, for U of M Twin Cities?
Yeah, so we just started doing tours back up this week. They are invitation only to current admitted seniors. So if you are admitted or confirmed, keep an eye on your email, because we will be sending out invitations. Those also will be in very small capacity. So you will need to sign up for a specific date, and we are only allowing 1 student plus 1 guest per group. As far as athletics, we also have a liaison through our office. But I would also recommend, if you are being recruited by a team, working with the coach specifically because they probably have their own protocol with setting up those visits. We don't set them up through our admissions office.
Awesome. And then Ryan, for Rochester visit opportunities.
Yes, we are open for on-campus visits. They are limited. We allow one family in the morning and one in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, and you can register in advance on our website. And we do not have any athletics, so we don't have to worry about the coaches.
Awesome. So we have got some great questions in the Q&A about transferring. So what it's like to transfer, whether it's PSEO credits or transferring, starting at a community college and transferring to University of Minnesota campus. We can maybe just have one of us answer to this. Does anyone want to tackle that one?
I'll go ahead and answer that.
Yep.
So if you're a PSEO student, typically what that's going to look like for yourself is you're going to be taking general education courses. It'd be very rare that you'd be taking anything specific for a specific major. So I would assume that all of our campuses are pretty transfer friendly. So as long as your credits are coming from an accredited institution, I believe we will all take your credits. And if it's going to be general ed courses, that I would assume that they would transfer in pretty well. Now, if you're a transfer student, you're thinking about doing the two-year route and then transferring to one of our schools, I would highly encourage you to, if you know where you're going to transfer to get in contact with one of our transfer counselors, just so that you know the courses that you're going to be taking will transfer it nicely to whatever program you're looking at our campus. Just because you would hate to have to take a class that we wouldn't necessarily take and that you would have to redo. So it's definitely possible, and really the big nugget with it is an accredited institution, accredited courses, and then just working with each specific campus on, what that looks like for yourself as well.
Thank you, Musa. So we had a question come up, accommodations for students. I'll answer more specifically this specific thing, but good thing to talk about support and accommodations in general. So each of our campuses are going to have an Office of Disability Resources or something very similar. You'll work with that office to kind of interface, help you communicate with your professors, and then we'll meet your needs and support you in any way we can, and really promote that accessibility and those accommodations as much as we can. So there's specific kind of accommodations, based on whatever your background is, and we'll work on those things. The thing I'll say is if you want to work with that disability resource coordinator on any of our campuses, it's never too early to. Feel free to reach out to us. I'll send our contact information again. We can connect you with that person. So we had a question, how has research changed since COVID hit? Great question. How has research changed since COVID hit? Catherine, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so a lot of our classes did go to remote learning, but for courses with research, we've really tried to keep those on campus. So whether it's smaller groups or different times, just trying to make sure that the buildings are safe for our students and professors to be in. So that's probably the one instance that we've tried to retain on campus the most, is just allowing students to be able to actually do research while most everything else in our lives has gone remote.
Awesome. And then we had a question that came up. Do your schools offer study abroad programs? I'm going to do a thumbs up. We all offer study abroad programs. Yeah, awesome. So what I want to hear is a specific study abroad program at your different colleges that you think is awesome. Kelsey, you go first.
I mean, they're all awesome, honestly. Like, no matter where all of you are gonna go to college, like, study abroad is definitely worth it. And if you know you want to study abroad, let your academic advisor know sooner than later, because then you can actually work and incorporate that into your program. I don't have a specific, I don't know. I think all of us have programs on every continent but Antarctica. If any of you have one on Antarctica, like, that's news to me. That's cool. But
yeah, bragging rights. We did send a student to Antarctica several years ago. It's a lot harder to go now, so we don't talk about it as much. But does anyone have a study abroad that they're excited about that they want to highlight? I have one. We send students to an island in Greece to study aging because it's a blue zone. So people live longer there on average. There's a bunch of them across the world. And yeah, so we send them and they live with in an elder care community, and they cook and they live and they talk to people, and it's just an amazing opportunity. Any other study abroads we want to highlight? Going once, going twice. Musa.
I will say, let's say that you did decide that you wanted to come to Crookston, and we weren't sending any students to Antarctica, but Duluth that year, that summer, or Morris was. The cool thing about being a U of M student is that you're not stuck within what each campus, your home campus, is going to be offering. So it's available for you to join in on groups at any one of our campuses and take part in their study abroad group. It's just, again, like Andrew said, working with your study abroad coordinator at your campus to kind of figure out what you're looking for and how to go ahead about planning that. So if we're not sending anyone to Antarctica, it's okay. You can figure out what other campus is and take part in that trip as well too.
Awesome, thank you, Musa. So we have questions about in-person versus hybrid versus online. Ryan, can you talk about that at Rochester? We can all kind of touch on the different offerings that we have currently and for next fall as well. Ryan, can you start?
Yeah, right now it's due to COVID, it's mostly online. But for instance, like our labs and things like that, those are in person. And any type of clinical work with Mayo is obviously in person as well. So, it's kind of a mix right now, but hopefully that will change here by the fall and we can all be in person again. So.
All right, Kelsey, do you want to talk about Duluth?
I mean, it's pretty similar, I guess, to what Ryan said. The majority of our stuff is probably online or hybrid, with the exception of like labs and, like Catherine mentioned, like research opportunities. Yeah, fingers crossed this fall. I think like with COVID stuff this fall, I mean, none of us really know exactly what it's going to look like, I don't think, this fall, because it's probably going to be made on a system level, I'm guessing, not to get too far into the weeds, but yeah, pretty similar as Ryan.
Good question. Anything to add, Musa or Catherine, on that subject? Okay, we're all pretty similar. Yep, some online, some in person, all those pieces. Awesome. So we have a really specific question that I don't know the answer to. So is it true that UMN would rather or prefer someone taking AP English rather than PSEO English at a community college? Do we have a preference versus AP, IB, PSEO in general? And then we could address this specific one.
We accept, sorry, I'll go first really quick. We accept either. With the community college English, something to keep in mind is that I think every community colleges might be a little bit different in what English classes you'd have to take there for it to transfer to our freshman English. So, if you want to attend one of our campuses, I would just reach out and make sure that you're taking the right class as a PSEO student. For AP, if you score a 3 or higher, you will get credit for that English class.
Awesome. Catherine, anything to add there?
Not really. I typically just recommend for students to take as rigorous of coursework that they will still be successful in. Those are both advanced courses, so I wouldn't say that we would have a preference one over the other. One thing to maybe keep in mind is if you're considering schools outside of Minnesota, if you're taking a PSEO class, transferability versus AP is pretty standard. So also, not to get into the weeds, but we would take either of those classes and they would be considered pretty much on the same basis.
Yeah, and that's a good point, kind of getting into the weeds. So we are going to share our contact information again. We shared it earlier. There's some really specific questions in the Q&A, which again, we appreciate. We're going to try to get to all of them, but there's some really specific questions to specific colleges. And so it might be better to email us those questions. Again, we're going to try to answer as many as possible. We have about 5 minutes left here. We had a good question. What is study abroad? And so thank you for asking that question. Study abroad is some experience abroad, so in another country, not the US, where you get credit for that experience. And so they widely range. Sometimes it's going to another college for a semester, so like an exchange program. Sometimes it's going to for a specific experience that's not really based in the classroom at all. There's also experiences called National Student Exchange, where you do a similar thing where you transfer for one semester as an exchange student to a school in the US. So someone mentioned marine biology. Again, one of those specific questions, but it's a good example because, Morris is landlocked. Duluth has an awesome opportunity with Lake Superior, right? So I want you to talk about that marine biology, but we've had students who do a semester in Hawaii where you can study the ocean more vividly. So Kelsey and Catherine, talk about marine biology. I'm trying to do research in the background, but we have a student ask, is it a major? Is it a minor? Can you talk about marine biology specifically?
I will say we don't have a specific like marine biology major, but like being in Duluth, we definitely have a pretty strong like environmental sustainability kind of focus or option within biology. So if like fisheries, wildlife, like research in Lake Superior, our students have done some pretty awesome research within Lake Superior. So if you're interested in any of that sort of thing, we can offer that. But if you're looking for like the traditional marine biology, like ocean type stuff, we unfortunately don't really have anything specific for that.
We have marine biology as a minor, but also we are landlocked too. So I think a lot of students look to do a study abroad to get that type of experience. We do have a study abroad marine biology program, but as far as a degree, it's only going to be available as a minor through the Twin Cities campus.
Great questions, great answers. We had a question about, can you study abroad for all 4 years of university? Probably not. You can study abroad multiple times. It requires a lot of planning. There's not a limit on the time necessarily, but there is a residency requirement where you need to study at the university itself for longer. So we had a question about business programs. So if we can kind of go through and talk about how you could study business at each of our colleges. I'll start. We have an economics and management double major that our students take part in. Musa, can you talk about business at Crookston?
Yeah, I would say we have a various range of different programs, ranging from marketing to management to more specific like internet marketing. Sports and recreation management's a pretty popular one too for those who like, the athletic side of things and want to kind of package that with business, accounting, finance. So we have, various options for you to kind of choose and get experience in the business area.
Awesome. Kelsey, UMD business.
Yeah, so we have our Leavitt School of Business and Economics, and we have 15 different majors across 3 different degrees you could get. I know that that's kind of confusing. I actually had to look it up before so I didn't forget like one of the degree programs, but basically you can get like a bachelor's of accounting, a bachelor's of arts and economics, or bachelor's of business administration. And depending on what major you would pick, that's basically what your degree would fall into, but 15 different majors to choose from.
We have a number of business programs at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. The majority of them are in our Carlson School of Management. That is our traditional business school. That program college has 10 majors and 13 minors available. But we do have business majors in other academic colleges, whether it's the College of Food, Agricultural, and Natural Resource Sciences. There's a business ag major. We have business in the College of Liberal Arts. So there's a couple of programs kind of spread throughout, but the main programs will be in our Carlson School of Management.
Awesome. Thank you. So again, we have these awesome but specific questions. I'm going to touch on one more from the Q&A, and then we do need to wrap up. We're getting close to time. Somebody asked about doing a study abroad that is offered through one campus, but they're technically a student at another campus. That's one of the awesome parts about the University of Minnesota system. So that is a great opportunity where you can do a Twin Cities study abroad trip, but be a student at the University of Minnesota Duluth. So awesome kind of system collaboration here. We want to thank you all for joining us so much. I need to pull up our contact information that I said I was going to pull up. Looks like we're getting it out there. Awesome. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to send my contact information to all of you as well. We didn't get to answer all of your questions because some were a bit specific to campuses, but now you do have our contact information here. So please feel free to reach out to us for these specific things, whether it's specific questions about a campus or you applied and you're not sure where you're at. We are happy to work with you anytime. The admissions offices across the U of M are happy to work with you at any stage that you're at, and we really want to help you find the best fit college and get you the best information. So wonderful. Thank you all for joining us. We are going to wrap up the session here.
Thank you so much to our admission team from the University of Minnesota. And thank you to all of our attendees who were able to join us today. It was great to have you all listen in on the wonderful opportunities of the University of Minnesota. When we are ending the session and when this window closes, there will be a short survey at the end of the session here. We would appreciate you to give us your feedback about how the session went today. Again, this is just one session out of the many sessions that we'll be offering. And so you can always visit the website at www.strivescan.com/Minnesota for some more session opportunities later today and tomorrow. And then in about a week, you'll be able to also find this session's recording on that same website as well. Thank you guys all so much for joining us today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.